All right, hello class. Today we're going to do day 10 notes. On these notes, you'll notice when you look at all these problems, they all have something in common, and that would be that they all have some parentheses, okay? But if you look in those parentheses, everything in the parentheses, there is an X or a T or some sort of variable in there. So we can't do, like we do in order of operations, we can't actually combine those because they're not like terms. So what we have to do first on problems that have parentheses is we have to do that distributive property that we've learned. Okay, that's always going to be step number one when solving equations if there are some parentheses like this. Okay, so distributive property means to take the number outside the parentheses and distribute it to every term on the inside, which means we are multiplying when we distribute. So we're taking 2 times the x, which we can't do, so we just write 2 times x or 2x. Keep our minus, then we have 2 times 5, which is 10. Okay, so we no longer have the parentheses because we distributed the 2 to everything in parentheses. Now we don't distribute the 2 to the 8 because the 8's not in parentheses. We just carry that down, r equals 8. All right, after we distribute, then we look at what we have left. Well, I have 2 things left over with my x. So this is just a 2-step equation. So we go through our 2 steps with our equation, which would be to get rid of the adding and subtracting before the multiplying dividing step. Okay, so it's minus 10, so I do plus 10. And again, what you do on one side, you do on the other side as well. Okay, so I add 10 to both sides. Minus 10 and plus 10 cancel, leaving you with just 2x equals then 8 plus 10, which is 18. All right, and then 1 step left. This is 2 times x, so the opposite multiplication would be division. So we divide by 2 on each side. So divide by 2 here, divide by 2 here. 2 divided by 2 cancels and makes 1x, or x equals then 18 divided by 2, which is 9. Okay, so we get 9 as our answer. Okay, now our usual check step. So check step would be take the 9, plug it in where the x is. So I have 2, and then parentheses, 9 minus 5. Okay, make sure you write those parentheses there, equals 8. Okay, and then remember we just solved this using our regular order of operations. So we do 9 minus 5, which is 4, times 2 makes 8. So check, that's what we wanted to make. All right, good. So we know the answer is right because we did our check step. All right, so moving on then to this question right here. So this question, just like the other one, has some parentheses with something we can distribute. Remember, we always distribute the number that's multiplied with them. So we're going to take the 6, distribute it with both the t and the 2. So 6 times t is 6t. 6 times 2 is 12, and we keep that plus. Now notice this one has this extra minus 7 that's not in the parentheses, so we just carry that down. Okay, and then also carry down the equals 23. So we're only distributing to what's in parentheses, carrying everything else down. All right, so now when I look at it, I notice with the t, I have 3 pieces here. So there's something I can do with some of these pieces. I should notice that, oh, we have some like terms. Now this one has a t, but neither of these 2 do. So these are just regular old numbers. We can go ahead and combine our like terms here. So that's a plus t, or positive t, minus 7, which would make 5. Okay, and then we carry the 6t down. So we have 6t, and since it's positive 5, we write a plus 5 there. Okay, then equals the 23 still on the other side. All right, so now I can go through my last 2 steps of the equation. So I get rid of the thing being added before the multiplication. So it's plus 5, so I minus 5. Okay, plus 5 and minus 5 cancel to make nothing, leaving me with 6t equals then 18. And then divide by 6. Divide by 6, divide by 6, because that's times, so we divide to get our answer. So 6 divided by 6 is 1t, and then 18 divided by 6 is 3. All right, boom. Okay, now let's make sure you guys are getting in the habit of, even if you're not writing a check step, that you're still checking it. So if I put 3 up there, I would do 3 plus 2, that's 5, times 6 is 30, minus 7, yep, it makes 23. So I can do a check step in my head or in a calculator and see if it makes the right answer, even without writing it down. All right, moving on. Okay, this question right here again has parentheses. So I take the 4, distribute it to my m and my 3. So 4 times m is 4m. 4 times 3 is 12, and we have the minus sign. Okay, then we carry down this one that's not in the parentheses and carry down the equals 5. So I just distributed again to the parentheses, carried everything else down. Okay, so again, I notice a lot of stuff going on over here. Okay, and I notice that, ooh, I have more than one m in there. So after I distribute, or distributing always comes first, then step 2 is to combine any like terms, just like we did on B. On this one, our like terms would be the m's here. Notice it's 4m minus 4m. Well, what happens when we do 4m minus 4m? Well, we're taking away everything. They make 0. So all I'm left with then is negative 12 equals 5 over there. Well, negative 12's left, 5's left. Uh-oh, I don't have any more m's, which means it has to be one of those special cases that we learned from the previous lesson. So does negative 12 equal 5? Well, no, that doesn't make sense. Those are not equal, so this is one that we would call no solution. Okay, so remember, if your variables cancel each other out and you're left with two things that are not equal, that is a no solution. If they were equal, that would be the all real numbers or infinite many solutions. Okay? All right, then this one over here looks like the longest, has the most pieces to it, but this is going to take us all the steps that you guys have learned. So if you go through that checklist that you have on the previous page, first step is always doing distributive property. So we look at, here's my parentheses, here's my number outside the parentheses, I'm going to take that and distribute it to what's in there. So 5 times y is 5y, 5 times 6 is 30, keep the plus in the middle. Okay? Then we got to notice we've got lots of other stuff left. We've got the 2y left on this side, so I bring that down, again keeping that plus there. Okay, and then on this side, none of that's in the parentheses, just bring it on down. Okay, so step 1, distribute. Step 2 is to combine any like terms. Now you might be noticing on here that I've got this and this and this are all y's, but this one's on the other side. We can only combine them as like terms if they're on the same side. So we can go ahead and combine these. 2y plus 5y makes 7y. And then the 30 is not like it, so I bring it down. And then over here, again, those are not like terms. All right, now I noticed something. I could keep going with this problem and keep trying to solve it, but I notice I have the exact same thing on both sides. 7y plus 30 equals 7y plus 30. That's telling me it's going to be special. Now say I didn't notice that and I tried to solve it and said, okay, I've got y's on both sides, I need to cancel one. Well, if I take away 7y's here, those are gone. Take away 7y's here, those are gone. Notice, ooh, my y's are disappearing, leaving me with just the two numbers. 30 on this side and 30 on this side, which tells me it's a special case. Well, this one's a little different than this one. This one, the two numbers left over were not equal. This one, they are equal. So this is my one that we call either infinitely many solutions, meaning I could plug any number I want in for y and it would make the same answer. I should say solutions there. Okay. Or you could say all real numbers. Okay. Either one of those answers will work for that one. All right. So again, on all these problems that we just did, we did distributive property first. Okay. And then we went through, combined any like terms that we had, and then started getting rid of what was with our variable, subtracting, or doing our adding, subtracting, then our multiplying, dividing. Okay. We do have 2 more questions on the next page. So go ahead and turn the page while I erase this. Okay, 2 more and then we will be done. All right, still both of them have some parentheses in them. This one, we have a negative number outside the parentheses. So I'm going to take negative 2, distribute it to each term. So I've got negative 2 times 2x. Well, I can do negative 2 times 2 and get negative 4. Then I can keep that x with it. Now over here, be careful. It's a negative 2 times what we think of as a negative 3. Negative 2 times negative 3 would make a positive 6. So I can write that as plus 6. That's the simplest way to write that out. Okay, and then equals then negative 2. All right, after distributing, just 2 numbers with my x. So I get rid of the thing being added first. So it's plus 6, so I minus 6. Okay, plus 6 and minus 6 cancel, leaving me with just negative 4x equals then, well, negative 2 minus 6, go down 6 from negative 2 would be negative 8. Okay, and then negative 4 times x is negative 8, so I divide by negative 4 on both sides. So the dividing by negative 4 cancels, leaving me with x equals then negative 8 divided by negative 4 makes a positive 2. Okay, so some of that negative stuff that we need to make sure that we have down. If you need to double check that in your calculator, of course do that. Okay, now checking my answer, if I plug this back in, I do 2 times 2, which is 4, minus 3 is 1, times negative 2 makes negative 2. So boom, I know I did it right. All right, one more left. Again, we have some distributing. This one, though, we want to be careful. It's not just the 3 we're distributing, it's a negative 3. Remember, it'll always look at what's in front of that number. If it's a minus, that's like a negative. So we're going to take negative 3 times each of these. So it's negative 3 times x, which is negative 3x. And then negative 3 times positive 1 makes a negative 3. So we can write that as minus 3. Okay, now what do we have left? Well, we still have this 2 out here. So we bring the 2 down. So that's 2 minus 3x minus 3, then equals 6x. All right, so again, distributing is step 1. Step 2 would be combining our like terms. Okay, we do have some like terms right here. These are both just regular numbers. 2 minus 3, and they're both on the same side. 2 minus 3 makes negative 1. Now these both have x's, but again, notice they're on different sides, so I can't just combine them. I just want to carry them down. So I bring the minus 3x down on this side, and it equals 6x over here. All right, now remember our goal when we're solving an equation is to try and figure out what x is. If I have x's on both sides, I have to get rid of one of them. It's like having the pouches of coins on both sides, like we learned before. Okay, we got to cancel some of them out. Okay, since this side has x's and no other stuff, I would want to get rid of these x's. Okay, and it's a minus 3x, so to get rid of that, I would plus 3x. Because if I had a negative 3x and I pair it with positive 3x, that would make 0. Again, once I do it on this side, I do it on the other side as well. Okay, so minus 3x plus 3x cancels, bringing down the negative 1 over here, equals then 6x plus 3x makes 9x. All right, then I've got one more step. I'm trying to figure out what x is, so I want to divide by what's with it. Okay, so we're dividing by 9. All right, and we divide by 9 here, because 9 times something makes negative 1, so I divide by 9 to get x by itself. So the x does happen to be on the right side, equals then, oh, we haven't seen this happen before. Usually we have something that we can divide. Well, if I do negative 1 divided by 9, that's going to give me a decimal. So I can write this answer one of 2 ways. I can either write the fraction, negative 1/9, literally just leave it like that, or you could write it as the decimal if it makes a nice decimal. Now this makes negative 0.1 repeating. So that's okay as long as you write it that way, but really the fraction is the preferred answer. So notice that if they don't divide, you can leave it a simplified fraction. All right, and then this one, if you're checking this one, doing a check step, you'd probably just want to type it in your calculator. You'd want to type that in with parentheses and everything in both sides to see if it works. So it's a little bit longer check step on that particular one. Okay, so that are your day 10 notes. So either if you get this, you will go ahead and do your exit slip. Otherwise, go ahead and get the extra practice.